There's only 5 things that makes you become the most attractive version of yourself. It took me from being an average European to now having the same traits as models. In this video, I will walk you through what these 5 steps are, step by step, so you can get the best glow up in your life. My name is Oliver and I help guys become the most attractive version of themselves. And if you didn't know already, building an aesthetic face and body is the single best way to do so. If you want me to personally make a specific workout that fits your type of genetics, then go have a look at the top link of the description. All the details are there. So what is the first thing that we see on a person? That is exactly their face. That is why the face is the single most attractive thing that we can improve on. And we can actually do this by training certain muscles in our face that will literally make us look completely different. And that is exactly why step number 1 is something that I call train the 4 key facial muscles. So before I started training my face, which was around 5 to 6 months ago, I barely attracted anyone. I always used to be the guy in the classroom who, whenever I was trying to talk with a girl, I could kind of tell she only did it because she felt like she had to, because we was in the class together. We never really spoke about anything because she was really interested in me. The way that I could see this difference was because I always used to be good at observing people, because sometimes I really like to just be by myself. So because of this, I looked around and I usually saw the attractive guys in the class, you know, always the ones with like the good genetics, the ones that look so good, right? So I used to look over to them and they were always speaking together with the crushes that I had, the ones that I always dreamed about getting. And they spoke to them so easily and they made them laugh. They made them touch their shoulders, their arms so easily. And I was sitting there thinking like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And honestly, some of that was because of just my speaking skills. But most of those parts was actually just the amount of attractiveness that you have. Because the thing is, some years later now, when I have improved my body and my facial attractiveness, I saw one of my exes again. And when I saw one of my exes, we had a day together, we were training at the gym, etc. I could tell the vibe was different from when I saw her the first time. I could feel that there was a more of an attraction. And the thing was, when she took me home with, like in her car, so she took me to the train station, she literally told me when we were about to say goodbye, you probably hear this a lot, but you're such a hot catch. That's what some of my friends said in my friend group. And I was like, that was no joke. That was from like this summer, so from some months ago, right? That was the first time in my entire life that I have ever heard that I was attractive, you know, a hot catch by somebody else. And this was literally the time where I have trained my facial muscles for around 1 to 2 months. So now that you understand that it's possible if we just train the 4 key facial muscles in your face, I want to now tell you exactly the exercises that transformed my face and how to do them and what the muscles are. So first of all, let's take a look at these 2 different pictures. So one of these pictures was literally me from exactly 1 year ago. I was either by the end of like 17 years old or like the start of 18 years old. And this was literally how like I looked. You can clearly see a lot of differences, but one of the first differences is the eye area muscle, which is called the orbicularis oculi muscle. And that is the muscle that we have around our eye muscle here. And the thing is, something that you can see, which is very interesting on these 2 pictures, is that I have what I call the rainbow or ghost kind of look. Like I look like somebody who has seen a ghost. Look at how my eyebrows here go like a rainbow. I look like, oh, shit, I've seen a ghost or some shit like that, right? Comparing that to like the other picture on the other side here, where I have a straight line. I literally have like a straight line, maybe a little bit upwards like this, which is what you actually want to have, because that's when you have something called a positive canthal tilt. And that is the most attractive thing that you can have, because when you have this, which is a positive canthal tilt, you also have less upper eyelid exposure. Like you can clearly see from this picture here, look at how much upper eyelid exposure I have there, comparing it to here. Like look at the fucking difference just with the drawing, right? So there's so much difference with the eye muscle. And the simple way that we can literally just get what's called the hunter eyes, that's what the term is called when you have these traits. That is just that we take our index fingers, we take it by the end of our eyebrow here. Then if you try to pull a little bit up here, you can feel that you actually have a muscle here, which I talked to you about before. So you try to grab that muscle by the end of your eyebrow. Then we want to pull upwards. And then when we have pulled upwards, we want to twist it to the side with like our fingers, so we get as deep of a stretch as possible. Then when we have done this, so we go upwards and then sidewards, then we want to think about squeezing as hard as possible with this part here. So you make an angry face. Can you see how my eyebrows go inwards and then downwards? That's the squeeze that you want to get. When you do this consistently, without closing your eyes, but just as hard as possible, you will feel the biggest burn of your life in like this area here. And over time, literally, even if you have something called a negative canthal tilt, or if you have like the ghost look that I talked to you about before, the end of your eyebrow will literally get pulled up over time. Like you can literally see this part right here will literally get pulled upwards, while this part here comes downwards, so it gets more flat. So you can see the results is that it looks like this. It's such an attractive look, bro. So the second exercise that makes you the most attractive amount in your face, which is some of the features that models have, is your hyoid bone. So your hyoid bone is the muscle that you have right here under like your chin, around your throat area, basically. It's the one that is right around here. Imagine right under the chin, right? And the thing is, when this part is trained, your skin gets tightened up like this. So this is when your hyoid bone isn't trained. You have a lot of skin hanging off. This is when your hyoid bone is trained. You can see how the skin just sucks up. And that is actually why, like, there's fat people, fair enough, they have it, they just need to lose weight. But skinny guys literally also have it. Like, I was so skinny throughout my whole entire life, basically until now. And that is, and I still had like skin hanging off here. And it's literally just because you haven't been training like your bone, but I just call it a muscle because it's easier to understand, right? So when it's trained, you can clearly see you get such a more sharper and more, and you get more definition on like your jawline. Yeah, like you can clearly see the difference. Here, like I have no definition. Comparing it to over here, I have so good definition. Of course, the lightning is a little bit better, but bro, this picture, like, I had no jawline either there, even though I was even skinny. So the way that we train our hyoid bone is basically just to rely on the end of our bit, and then we just want to think about curling our neck inwards. And then the thing, like the cue that you want to think about is not just lifting your neck, but you want to think about rolling your neck inwards. You can see how the hyoid bone activates when you kind of roll your neck instead of just lifting it. And then the second cue is that your chin here, we want to get it to try to touch here. Obviously, you're not going to be able to, but that's just the cue that we want to think about. So for our third muscle, which is something called the masseter muscles. So the masseter muscles is the kind of muscle that gives you the TikTok boys look, because it's the one that gives you this kind of jawline. Like it's the muscle that we have right here. Like you can literally see it being activated here. Comparing it to over here, I literally, like you can clearly see there is no jawline bone mass here. Like I haven't been training this part. You can literally see here. That's the muscle right there. I have literally been training this by doing something called the prayer. And when it's trained, the prayer, you can see you get more bone mass here, which will look more attractive. So basically the way that we do the prayer is that you take your hands together like you will be praying, and then your thumbs is gonna apply pressure upwards, and then you're gonna resist downwards with your jawline like this. When you do this exercise over time, first of all, you will be really sore, like you will really realize that you have like a lot of jaw muscles around here. But then second of all, you will just realize over time, you literally get a wider jaw because this part here gets bigger. So the last muscle, which is the fourth one, it is the palate. So the palate is the one that we have right behind our like teeth. So it's like basically the roof of our mouth, right there. What we then want to do is that we want to take pressure with our tongue up against our palate, and then we want to close our mouth like this. You can see it's being activated by like the tongue hanging off here. That's how you basically just move. You should be able to feel a big burn when you do it. And that is literally just gonna give you something called forward growth. So you probably yourself have this kind of jawline. First of all, that's because you're breathing through your mouth, not through your nose like we should be doing. That's why you got this kind of jawline. But just by breathing through your nose again, you won't really fix it by itself. You need to do it so you don't get a worse kind of look. But the way that we fix it is just smoothing. That way your jawline will slowly get pushed forward, because that's like the point of it. Then if we go to step number 2, which is building an aesthetic physique. So building an aesthetic physique literally is just about building 7 muscles. A lot of people do the wrong thing, which is going for the male gaze instead of the female gaze. So to quickly make you understand what this is, the male gaze is just getting as big as humanly possible. That is like the bodybuilders who's really like on gears, something like that, right? They don't look attractive. The reason for this is, again, they haven't been training the 7 aesthetic muscles. They haven't built the right proportions. They have just been thinking about building as much muscle as possible. Comparing it to the female gaze, where you train the following 7 muscles: your neck, your upper traps, your upper chest, your lateral delts, your biceps, your lats, and your abs. Those are the 7 aesthetic muscles which will make you the most attractive person possible. And that is exactly why that if you want me to review your form, also with, for example, the facial exercises, they can be very difficult to do, as well as with the muscle building exercises. And that is exactly why that I've been making a program where I personally review your form, and I literally make a specific workout for you, so you don't have to do any of the work yourself, other than just showing up to the gym and train the exercises that I tell you. It's in the top link of the description. All the details are there. So step number 3 to becoming the most attractive version of yourself is to use something that I call the hair protocol. So the hair protocol is very simple. It basically just means that you try out different hairstyles. I know there's a lot of new features now on like the internet that you can get something like an AI to scan your face and figure out the best hairstyle for you. For me personally, that was bullshit, because for me it told me that I should have more shorter hair, which was absolute bullshit. Like you can see how I looked. I looked fucking like, what do people call it nowadays? Yeah, chopped. I looked fucking chopped, bro. And the thing is, the way that we literally just fix this is just by trying out hairstyles that you find attractive. So for example, maybe it's a celebrity that you find attractive and you think, oh my god, I really want that kind of hairstyle. Just fucking try it out. Take a picture of him, like with the hairstyle, show it to your hairdresser and just say, can we try to do this? And then they will obviously say, yes, of course we can do that. Or maybe they will say, no, that isn't for your hair type. Then you just find another, like a different kind of picture. Because the thing is, if you just do what the AI tells you, if you don't like it, then you have to walk around with like a haircut that you don't even like. It doesn't make fucking sense. So try to go with something that you actually want to yourself. And then experiment and then see what's gonna be like your preference. And then you literally know your haircut for like the rest of your life, basically. Think about how awesome of an investment that is. So step number 4, clothing style. So if you're anything like me, you probably got your parents to choose like your clothing for like basically your whole entire life. For me, they literally chose my clothing up until I was 16 years old. And the thing was, all of a sudden I just didn't even care about how I looked anymore in clothes. So I looked very like undressed. So yeah, the best tip I can give you here is just to find the clothes that fits like your skin color. So find the contrast. So if you're very light skinned, then you need to go to the more lighter and cooler colors. So for example, blue, it could be rosa, all these kind of colors. But then if you are more like me, you are a little bit golden, but a little bit browner, then we want to go more for like the warmer colors. So basically, the more brown you are and the more dark skinned that you are, the more warmer colors that we want to have. So for example, like orange is a good example. And step number 5, which is honestly one of the most important things, is charisma. So you probably know that ugly as fuck guy in like your school or some environment that you know, and he just attracts like 8 out of 10 girlfriends all the time. I'm telling you, that is literally just because he's funny, like he's charismatic. He knows how to interact with people in a funny way. So I actually have a story that I quickly want to end this video with, and that was I went to something called an after school. On this after school, we had an end of the year party. At this end of the year party, we had to get awards, and the students that we lived together with, which was like 130 people, had to vote for people to get a different award. So that was the award, for example, for being the friend of the year. I literally won that, and I won 3 others as well. But the most important for me was the friend of the year, because think about that. I literally, out of 130 people, they literally saw me as like the best friend to talk to, like the friend of the year. And I didn't get this by accident. I specifically and tactically spoke to a new person every single day, and I tried to learn something new about them. Over time, and when I tried to learn these things, I just reminded myself to go up to them with a smile on my face. Because having a smile just opens up like the body language, and it makes it so much easier to just speak to the other person. That is the most important tip that I can give you. And if you think all of these tips are so good, then I know that you will love my program, because this is exactly the kind of stuff that I teach you. I also have a bonus guide inside of my program where I literally teach you how to take sexy pictures of yourself so you can get more matches on Tinder, for example. Again, it's in the top link of the description. So that was the end of this video. I really want to say thank you for watching this far. You have really improved in yourself, and you have taken the time to actually educate yourself and learn about new and different things. And that's exactly why that I know that you will love this channel, because it's where I teach you exactly how to become the most attractive version of yourself. So if you're interested, then I will highly recommend you to go down and click subscribe. Go watch this video over here if you want to keep on improving yourself. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day, bro. Mwah.